This is CHSR 97.9 FM here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. This is Python's Paradise, your film and music show, and this is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena. And folks, here we are on the 5th of January 2019, and here we have a guest coming on here for the third time. and we usually catch him every year about January, because, we're freezing here in New Brunswick, Canada. He's usually laying somewhere off in his underwear while somebody ominously is taking pictures of him, and us poor people on social media have to be subjected to this. I give you folks the author of the Ultimate Friday the 13th Trivia Book and the Ultimate Halloween Trivia Book, Mr. Scotty McCoy. How do you do, Scotty?
Doing great. Thank you for that nice introduction.
Yeah, I caught those photos on social media. You asleep. You got to learn to lock your door.
Exactly, and I think the next one I should get caught in, though, would be the ones with my face all over the underwear, right? That would be the best one.
Why would you make underwear with your face on it?
I'm just a goofball. I like. They always say that I am humble, but I also kind of have a big head in a way.
Yeah, but you got your face on your underwear. That's a place where your two private regions are.
Hey, what can I say?
Yeah, okay. You take at it. not my bag.
One thing I do gotta say, though, this is the third interview we had, and it is the first time out of all three times now that it hasn't snowed on the interview day.
Yeah, it's not snowing out right now for us either, but if I look out the window, there's snow on the ground.
Oh, wow. We don't have any of that this time. I'm kind of shocked because the last two interviews we had a snowstorm, so kind of surprised that the third time didn't happen.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm just counting the days for spring. That's that is for me. But nonetheless, here we are a third time, and you seem to be moving up, and things are happening, and I understand that you're doing a second edition of Christ Defeats Cancer. I guess your dad had to go back in again, and he beat it again, did he not?
Yes, he did, and the book actually is going to be covering like what happened since the end of the first one, and I've actually been told by my publisher that because I'm including when you go to like a sequel of a movie and it shows like what previously happened in the past movie, I have a chapter before the very first chapter, like it's kind of like, I guess, a prologue, and it's called Previously in Christ Defeats Cancer, and he said that not a lot of books that are like sequels include like a flashback chapter recapping the entire thing like a movie does, which she really liked that. And after that, we chapter one actually talks all about glioblastoma, what the brain cancer is, what it does. Because I know a lot of feedback I got on the first one was that I don't go in about the cancer itself as much, and a lot of people are left either researching or wondering what is glioblastoma without the minus the rare aggressive brain tumor aspect of things. So I have the first chapter all about glioblastoma, and then after that I go into more about my dad and his recovery and any setbacks he had, any progress he had, more about our family. I include more scriptures in it and everything. So it's actually a pretty decent book. It's coming along. The release date will be in 2019 sometime. I'm not sure of an exact date. I'm almost finished it. I'm on the last chapter. I'm very close to finishing the last chapter. Then I'm going to give it all a reading to edit it myself, and then send it to my professional editor. He will edit it, and then once he edits it, he'll give it back to me. I will look at it one more time, and from there, I'll send it to my publisher.
Okay. So a second edition to that, and I take it the first book has sold well.
It did. It actually did, and it made the New York Times bestsellers list. On top of that, and it also it did really well actually. It made the New York Times bestsellers list. In the first, I believe it was 35 minutes of sales, I ended up selling well over, I believe it was $2,000 or $3,000 or so.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so it did really well and that was only 35 minutes after its initial publication. So that's actually not bad at all.
And how's your dad doing?
He's doing great, actually. He's walking around better. He was recently in the hospital over the Thanksgiving holiday, getting the rehab again for to walk again, and we found out that it's because of the disease itself that he wasn't able to walk. It wasn't muscular; it was more of neurological, that his brain couldn't give the signals to his legs to walk. So with that being said, he wasn't able to really it wasn't like anything that he could do that way. They had to basically retrain his brain at that point. So he ended up getting out, and they showed us exercises to do, and from there we are doing exercises, both memory exercises, like giving them 3 words to memorize and giving them a story and stuff like that. And then when we do that, it helps his brain. And then we also do stretches with him. He does physical exercises like squats or lunges and stuff like that. Just walking around more and all that will keep the brain focused, because they said if he doesn't keep doing the exercises, the stretches and all that, then he would end up back in rehab, starting back from square one to retrain the brain to walk again. So he's keeping at it, and he's doing pretty good walking. He's just had his recent MRI on December 26th, and he is still stable. The cancer didn't grow. They actually said a little part of the brain where the swelling was originally at, that shrunk a little bit. So it was, if anything, more of an improvement than just than anything increasing or anything staying the same. It was a little bit more of an improvement with everything. So that came out well, and he's doing some treatments. He's doing Avastin and Opdivo, which helps the swelling of the brain and helps cut off the circulation of the blood flow to the tumor itself and all that. So he gets that done, and he's doing pretty good, actually. It's been a miracle. It's been a roughly almost 2.5 years, but he's been doing quite well, and I'm very happy to see the progress he's been making.
That's fantastic. And of course you have excuse me, the 2 trivia books, Halloween and Friday the 13th trivia books that you've done. Are you planning to do any other trivia books on any other horror franchises?
Yes, I currently am working on, but I haven't worked on it lately because we'll talk about later about my production company. I've been working a lot on that, but I have been working on them on chapter. I think I was even talking about starting it last interview, and I didn't get much further from last year. But is the Ultimate Nightmare on Elm Street trivia book, and believe it or not, Heather Langenkamp, she wrote the foreword to the book, so. That book I'm hoping to get out maybe this year. I'm only on chapter 3, but once I get going, it's not really hard or long or time consuming. It's a lot of research, yeah, but writing a trivia book really isn't that. It doesn't take that much time. It's just, when do you have the time to do it? And I need to find the time to put into just sitting down and working on that. But right now, my top priority is Christ Defeats Cancer 2: The Battle Continues. And then from there, I'm working on production stuff, and then I'll focus on the Ultimate Nightmare on Elm Street trivia book.
Talk about your production company.
All right, so it's called Gravestone Films. We are trademarked with the state of Pennsylvania, or our name is. We're currently in the process of getting a business license through the state of Pennsylvania, and through the we're also trying to get get it patented through the trademark and patent company out of Washington D.C.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called Gravestone. We do all different types of films, despite the name. We do, like I said, horror comedy. We also do documentaries. We're also we're going to be working on a romantic comedy drama type series film. We were working on originally, and we were supposed to film it in the fall, this past fall, but it got sidetracked because we weren't technically quote unquote prepared because we didn't have insurance. We didn't have all this, that, and the other. So right now we're in the process of getting general liability insurance. But one of our projects was called Samhain. It's spelled, if you look at it spelled wise, it's pronounced Samhain, but it's really pronounced Samhain. It's a Halloween festival throughout October, I believe 30th through the 31st in that area. And we were working on a horror comedy web series with that, and we had the scripts written, we had everything good to go, and then insurance matters got in the way, and we couldn't really start production as much as we wanted to, and we were literally like a couple days into production until then we had to like wrap it all up and start from scratch again. But we decided to do a little turn of events, and I started making Samhain into a book. And that is a book I'm going to be working on, and that it's based off of the script basically. But I added some more stuff into it, and on top of that, it gets even better that we decided to change the web series of Samhain to more reflect the book that I have, because the book is more eerie and suspenseful. And we're going to put it into a feature film instead of a web series. And we're currently working on that now. I'm currently working on the script. I was actually working on it before you called me, and I'm really excited at where this is going. That's one of our projects we have in the works. Basically what it is, without giving too much, because we're under I have all of my employees under a NDA clause where we can't talk much of stuff, including myself. But what I can say is it's basically it's a horror comedy film. It's going to be. It's regarding a mental patient that escapes the Skook Asylum. Yes, the Skook Asylum. That's a local thing. We're in Frackville, Pennsylvania, which is.
Is he going to be wearing Scotty McCoy underwear?
I might. Maybe I will put a scene in about that. You know, that could be the comedy aspect. I didn't think of that. You just gave me an idea.
Oh, gee, gully me.
That would be a good comedy aspect, and I can actually make the snarky, sarcastic character to make a comment about that, because we do have a scene where we end up getting ready for bed, and then it's the next morning. I can actually add that scene, and when I'm getting ready to get to bed, I could like get in my underwear and wear those underwear. And that.
Oh, you're starring in it?
Because it's my face. That's actually pretty interesting. Yeah. So what's Samhain? So basically, it is a mental patient who escapes the Skook Asylum, which is we're in Schuylkill County, Frackville, Pennsylvania, is where we're filming, and it's in Schuylkill County, and we locals call it the Skook. So we named it the Skook Asylum. The setting is in Frackville, and the mental patient that escaped through a fire, and the building is in ruins. I can't go into his backstory or anything, but I can say that he basically develops a multiple personality disorder and becomes a clown. And his name is the clown's name would be Relic, and that spells killer backwards. And he is trying to get his daughter back, and he's trying to restore his family with his estranged wife. And then near the end, when we were writing the series itself, and it's still going to be in the film, but when we were writing the series, the first episode would initially end with this girl crying for help and the clown as her hostage. And then these 4 video game nerds, I'm included in one of them. I'm going to be one of the stars of the movie as well. But I was going to be one of them that there's 4 video game nerds that come to her rescue, and they think they're like they don't think it's real life. They think it's a heroic quest that they're living in a video game world basically. And this girl that's really endangered by this clown they think of her as basically the Princess Peach, so to speak. They classify her as the damsel in distress, and basically because now they're in her life, he's trying to kill them to get to that girl and all that. And it's pretty good. It's well written. It's directed by his name is Nikolai Cabana was going to be directing it, but but now we're thinking of we don't know if he will be able to come back because he's busy doing a lot of filming projects now. So if he doesn't come back, it's going to be Anthony Blackwell and myself will be co-directing it.
Okay.
Yep. It's going to be starring so far, and we don't have the full cast list, but from the original initial web series, we're asking everybody that was originally in the series to come back. But if they can't because of, if they get busy or whatever within the time frame from when we were going to film it to now, that we understand that. But we're trying to get back the initial cast, which included me, Shayna Polsky, which he is coming back. He's one of my executives. Amanda Sawyer, she's also one of my executives. She's returning as Sammy, the girl. Ben Craig is the killer. Scott Yagalinsky, Tony Blackwell, who's my co-direct it. He's one of the nerds. And we originally had Rory Wolf as one of the nerds, but he moved away. And he was also our special effects guy. So we need a new special effects person. And on top of that, we're replacing Rory's character by Shayna Polsky. He's one of my. He's probably going to be playing one of the nerds as a replacement.
Okay. Well, this sounds interesting. So you're moving into filmmaking now. What? I know that through those trivia books you got an interest, in particular, in horror films. So talk about the process of starting a production company. It's
very, very exhausting. I actually, one of our mentors is Debbie Sue Voorhees, who people better know as Tina from Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning, and she's currently directing and starring 13 Fanboy. There's a cheap plug for her. She's very great. She has her own production company, so I got some advice from her, and it's very exhausting. It's not as hard when you start to get into doing the filming and all that, but it's the business side that is mind-boggling, especially when you don't have a degree in business and your degree is more in computer-based.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have a film degree, you don't have a business degree, and you never done anything on the business side of filmmaking, so you have to look into insurance purposes, which is where we know what we need insurance-wise. You have to get a business license, you got to get location scouts, you have to do all this different stuff is involved, all this paperwork. I have my legal team drawing up contracts for my cast, my crew, for location agreements, for NDA clauses, everything. Because God forbid if somebody is out for us and they get hurt, like our insurance will cover it. But if we don't have insurance, they won't. But if say if we don't pay somebody, they're like for the film because of, say we don't have any money right now. Our money is our time and our own personal funds. So our cast, if they want to work for us, they're doing it for exposure, for experience, and not making anything. So the contracts will protect us, because say if the movie does huge in the box office or wherever it's released and does huge and we make a killing off of it, they sign the contract, so it states that for this production they're not getting anything out of it. But if it airs on TV, they could get certain royalties based on it, type of thing. But we can't allow them to sue us if we do really good on it and they don't sign a contract saying they're making nothing off of it neither. So it's kind of like a protect us type of situation. There's a lot involved, like I said, we're on a very tight budget because we're a very small independent production company. So we're basically, using our own funds to purchase everything, from whether it be props, the business license, the insurance payments, everything, the location that we have to pay, that we want to use, which we're not really using for our sound. We're using general population like fractal streets and fractal wooded areas and family houses and friends' houses. So we don't have to, ask, say, a campground to use a cabin or to use a house or whatever and have to pay them for that location. And also, we don't have to get permission to this, that, and the other. Like, we can do it in our own time at our own houses. Just let the fellow neighbors know what's going on. We're going to film deep in the woods, so we don't need to get permission. That type of situation, because we are allowed to film in because it's freedom of, press, freedom of of speech, all that type of stuff. We're allowed to do that. It's not against the town ordinance unless you go past the noise zone. If you go, but we're gonna be going past the noise ordinance, so that's why we're gonna film a lot of those scenes at night in the wooded area where we don't have, where there's no houses around, nobody will hear, nobody will see, type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I have to give Debbie Sue Voorhees a plug too, because she was on for the third time last October on Python's Paradise, and she had launched 13 Fanboy, and I can say that since then I am now involved in that production, distantly speaking. Yeah, here, and I thought long and hard, and I was like, you look at the people that she's brought into this, you got C.J. Graham, you've got Kane Hodder, you've got Tom Matthews, you get Tracy Savage, you get Judy Aronson, Ron Sloan, and, a bunch of people, the Never Hike Alone folks. And I got to say, all it took was Tracy Savage's name being on it, and that was enough for me. Yep.
I know you are definitely in love with Tracy Savage. She is very talented, very beautiful, and I don't blame you one bit. And she's gonna be great in that film too.
Oh yeah, I love Tracy Savage, and so I invested in 13 Fanboy as a co-producer. And it was something I had to really think about. I was thinking between that and associate producer, but I was like, boy, co-producer A would look great on a resume. And number two, I'd have my name in a movie as a co-producer in and amongst all of these people that I've interviewed. And that just appealed to me. Yep. And it just feels nice to be distantly involved. I say distantly because I'm not there on location. I'm here in New Brunswick, Canada. So obviously, travel is not my thing, but I'm happy that I was able to support this Indiegogo campaign. And of course, I'm not making any money at this because, it's an Indiegogo campaign. But at the same token, there's definitely benefits to doing this. And one is the involvement with all these people in a project all these people I've interviewed is part of. Plus, it'll put my name on Internet Movie Database with this as a co-producer. And it will also look good on my resume, which will be nice, too. Gives me credibility when I'm doing these interviews, But I also did another thing, too, because I'm wondering whether Debbie Sue Voorhees knows I like Tracy Savage. Tracy Savage, of course, being Debbie in Part 3. She put a thing out where there was five places where she was asking people if they wanted to have their photos in with the certain scenes of the movie. And one of them was I could have my picture in amongst the family and friends photos of Tracy Savage. And I said, oh, man, she's dangling Tracy Savage like that yo-yo that was dangling in front of Tracy in the actual movie. And I was like, oh, I got to do this, having my picture in amongst a scene with Tracy Savage. I couldn't resist that. So
exactly. You can't pass up that opportunity.
I could not pass it up. I think there was a couple of places for Tracy Savage and a couple places for Ron Sloan and another one that she hasn't named yet. But to me, all it took was Tracy. So
yeah, exactly.
So I put down some money on that movie, and I know I got folks around me that if they found out, they'd probably curse me for putting money down on something I'm not going to make money off of. But I look at this as something a little different. It wasn't until 2015 I started doing these podcast interviews. Before that, I never ever thought I'd be doing it. And it was 2017. I actually went to my first convention in Toronto, and I got to be an assistant to one of my interview guests, which was awesome. and now I'm involved in the production of 13 Fanboy. So I kind of look at this as what possibilities lay ahead for me, and I think you're going through the same thing with your production company.
Exactly, and that's what a lot of the people in the film are going to be doing. Like, they're not going to be making money acting in it, but they're not going to be spending any money neither. They're what do they have? They're losing nothing, and they're gaining exposure, experience, and in return,
Oh, I spent money.
yep, my agent's given them an IMDb profile. So if they don't already have an IMDb profile, they're going to have one if they want to pursue acting. And if they already have an IMDb profile, then they get to add this accolade, this film, into their history on IMDb, and it's an extra credit for them.
Yep. No, I put money in on 13 Fanboy, but you know what? I'm honored, and I'm glad it made the $50K that they were seeking. So this movie's definitely going to get made, and I'm pretty excited about it too. So
I agree with that. Do you know if she's still doing the Indiegogo campaign?
oh, they might be. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know last I checked, they had over 58K. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, so they made over what they needed. So that was great, and
That is awesome.
yeah, and I think I'm among 8 people that are on the co-producer level. So I'm fine with that, and
Yeah.
my picture will be in there. So so here's the one thing that really bothered me, though, and I hate to get off your subject, and this is one thing that bothers me about New Brunswick in general, is that I pitched this to the local film industry here in town, the person that runs it, and they won't screen 13 Fanboy because, I'm not starring in it or whatnot, And of course, it didn't stop them from, putting Joe Medjuk. They brought him in, and he didn't star in Ghostbusters. He's producer, but nonetheless, I didn't take that too well. I didn't argue with them, but it's like I'm kind of, in a way, giving the Friday the 13th franchise a New Brunswick connection, and isn't that what the industry here in this little sector is supposed to be about? So I was like, okay, we don't have to screen it here, because they were definitely interested in Toronto when I went to the Horrorama.
Right.
Yep.
I agree, and I mean, that's the thing. Like, some places don't want to have a bigger, don't want to have like a, the air of certain films if you're not in it. But I mean, with Samhain, we would like to. We're going to look at bigger theaters, but if we might not be able to get there, so we might have to settle for a smaller theater. But I'm okay with any exposure that it were to get.
Yeah.
And I mean, especially something as big as 13 Fanboy, with all the buzz it's getting and all the big names they have from the Friday the 13th franchise, you would think that they would be eating that up. I mean, I find it ironic that something as small as Friday the 13th, when the first one was first made, was only at a Boy Scout camp in New Jersey, and then it went and ended up everybody said, oh, it's not going to be good. It got a lot of bad critic reviews, and it became a big blockbuster success 11 movies later, including a crossover with the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, and now, like, that Boy Scout camp is basically a tourist section that hosts tours, and I believe recently just had their first ever sleepover tour. So,
yeah.
I believe they even had Adrienne King show up as a surprise guest at one of their tours.
Oh, she's been there. Yep. Yeah.
So, like, a very small independent film did great. So, like, that's what makes me be hopeful that Samhain can do just as good. All it needs is a good script, a set of good acting, with amazing actors. Even though all of us aren't, like, I guess you could say, quote unquote, professionally trained actors. Like, we never did acting schools or acting coaches. But if we work hard and keep doing shot after shot till we get it perfect, and we make it good, and we do. I mean, even if you look at Friday the 13th, it wasn't all great acting. They were all the people in Friday the 13th were unknown theater students. You know what I mean?
Some of them had exposure. I mean, Kevin Bacon was in National Lampoon's Animal House.
Yeah, Kevin Bacon did, but I mean, like Adrian King, nobody knew who he was. Like nobody knew who I believe was it Ned, who he was. Like some people didn't know who they were, but they went to see this, and they didn't even know who the killer was. They didn't know who the killer was. Nobody knew until Mrs. Voorhees was revealed, and nobody knew it was even Betsy Palmer. I believe, from what I was told, it was under hush hush.
Yeah, and Betsy Palmer, again, another one who had worked previous to Friday the 13th.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And yes, exactly. She was amazing in it. But like such a small film, and even like with Halloween, that was such a small. These were small independent films that had a very small, tight, low budget.
You got to look at one thing though.
That one would do good.
You got to look at one thing though, and this is one key thing. A lot of those films managed, like Halloween, for example. They had Donald Pleasance, you know.
Yes.
Friday the 13th brought in Betsy Palmer, you know. That's a key thing. They managed to bring in somebody from the industry because it helps rally support. Now, of course, there are exceptions, like Night of the Living Dead, I think, would be one of the exceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know off the top of my head whether there was much exposure to the actors in Night of the Living Dead before it came out, but it was one of those films that, just took off. But,
Right, and that's why we're using, that's why, like, even though we don't have top-notch actors at this point, we're going to have to sell it with an amazing script and an amazing premise, but nobody's going to know that until they see the film. So we're also going to need an amazing marketing strategy to sell it to people, to show them this is going to be a good film to come and see. So come out and see this film, because even though it has a lot of unknowns and nobody will know on camera, it will be a film that is going to either scare you, make you laugh, put you on the edge of your seat type of deal. And I think and a lot of people tell me this. They say that you have a big part with the clown being in it, because a lot of people are terrified of clowns, especially horror fans, and the horror fans that are afraid of clowns will go see it just because of the fear of clowns.
I don't know. I'm talking to one right now. I'm not fearing. But you know what, though? Here's one benefit to unknown actors. I find when you get Hollywood stars, you're not looking so much at the character as you are the actor. So when you have unknowns, that actually, in a way, that benefits. So.
Right. And look at Jamie Lee Curtis. She was 100% unknown. She was only given the part because of who her mom actually was, Janet Leigh from Psycho.
Yeah.
So that's why she was given the role, but she was not known. She had no other prior work involved with filmmaking. And she got the part, and now look where she's at.
And of course, the Blair Witch Project and Paranormal Activity, there's another couple of examples of films done on a limited budget and didn't have big stars. So,
exactly.
It can happen.
That had of course, that Robert Englund. I'm not exactly sure if he was known for anything prior to Freddy. I mean, Freddy's obviously his most well known, but I mean, New Orleans.
Yeah, but it had John Saxon in it though as well.
Huh?
It had John Saxon in it as well, And John Saxon had done a lot of horror movies, from Black Christmas to Tenebrae to.
That is true.
Yeah. So
don't forget though, New Line Cinema was almost bankrupt until A Nightmare on Elm Street came along.
Oh yeah.
So that was a big benefit with Nightmare on Elm Street that saved the production company. So I'm hoping. I mean, even if sound does good, or if it bombs, I'm hoping it brings in some money that we can do another. I mean, it won't be our last production, I can tell you that. Well, we're never going to go bankrupt. We're going to work together. I have a good team on hand. It doesn't mean I'm going to have the same actors in every single production, but I'm going to have the same executives from my knowledge. I mean, I have Shane, I have Amanda, and they do amazing work. They're very driven. They're very hardworking. They're very intelligent. They're great friends of mine. I've been friends with both of them I've been friends with Shane for almost 15 years now. I've known him back in 10th grade when we were at the Votech together. Amanda, I went to high school with as well, and I've been out of high school now. It's going on 11 years this year, so I've been friends with her for well over 10 years. So it's good that not only do I have executives that I can trust, but I have executives that I've been lifelong friends with.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and together we're going to go in this, and if we make money for the production for other films, great. If it bombs, then we just try again with a different, with a different film, a different premise, and go from there.
Yeah, there were some nice perks to 13 Fanboy too, but unfortunately, where I'm in New Brunswick and I don't have a passport to travel to the States right now, for instance, I'm not going to be able to go on location for the tour or yell action on a scene. I'm not even going to be able to go to the premiere of the film. I'm a little sketchy about traveling to the U.S. right now, especially with the political situation, which I won't go into too much detail. But yeah, I hear stories about people traveling to the States being harassed by security at the airport and this and that, and I get it, you gotta deal with the possibility of terrorism, but at the same token, it's like, some of it becomes a little bit of an invasion of privacy.
Yeah, I agree with that. And,
yeah.
I really wanted to do it. I mean, I don't have the money per se for this perk, because it is quite a couple $1,000s for it, but that get killed in the movie. That would be an amazing exposure. That would be if you sold that so well that it comes off really amazing in the film itself. Then that right there can launch anybody's career if you got that perk.
Yeah. Well,
look at Kevin Bacon alone, he was known for before Friday the 13th, but I mean his death scene was impeccable. It was creative. It was amazing. And then and he sold it so well, and he look where his status is. I'm not saying it's all because of Friday the 13th, but your career is launched. A lot of people even say a lot of the actors that are unknown, or even some semi-known actors, their careers get launched from a horror movie.
Oh, look at Evil Dead. There's another good example.
What?
Look at Evil Dead. There's another good example.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that 13 Fanboy could be the reason why one of the ladies that is in it, I forget her name off the top of my head, but she's not. I don't think she's really well known from my knowledge, but she's not from Friday the 13th. She's I think she has blonde hair. I can't remember what her name is off the top of my head.
Okay. Yeah.
But she's in it, and I think this could be a launching pattern for her career too.
Yeah, one thing I worked out with Debbie Sue Voorhees is I said, look, I'm not going to be able to make these perks, and I'm happy to be on as a co-producer, but I made the suggestion about her and the cast doing the Doubtfire Face Challenge for suicide and depression awareness. So I'm thinking about hopefully that'll be a go, and I think Debbie Sue is definitely open to it. So
Yep.
Yeah,
that'd be nice. And I interviewed her for the second time, and the second interview was all about 13 Fanboy. And you can, if anybody wants to listen to that, you can listen to it on Spotify and iTunes in its entirety. But she's going to be. I actually mentioned, because I was the one that originally nominated her too for the Doubtfire Challenge, and then you brought up that how about, since you can do the perks, why doesn't it just be her, but the entire, the whole cast and crew do it, which would be amazing. And maybe it could be even a deleted scene or something, or a blooper or whatever off of the DVD or whatever. But I mean, I think I nominated her originally, and I asked her again about it during my second interview, and she definitely mentioned that she was going to do it with some of her cast and crew on set, because she talked to you about it. And I'm like, that's amazing. I'm so glad. Because as someone who suffers from depression myself, I believe that this cause is something that should be done. I mean, something as simple as putting a pie in your face. I've done the Doubtfire Challenge. You asked me during my first interview, and I've done it in a heartbeat because I suffer from depression. And I mean, looking at my dad's face, throwing that pie in my face, I think he enjoyed it a little too much. But I mean, I definitely wanted to do it. But then, like, this one's not taking off. But then we have the Tide Pod challenge, and now that new Bird Box challenge. You hear about that one where people
Some of these challenges are so stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, they're literally blindfolding themselves and walking across the street. I'm guessing praying that they don't get hit by a big semi.
Like, I don't get it. Like, I mean, the Ice Bucket Challenge did such a great thing for ALS, you know?
Yeah. It wasn't dangerous. It wasn't like poisoning your system with Tide Pods and, almost getting hit by cars blindfolded and, what is the other one? Snorting condoms through your mouth.
Holy cow, like, really? And the Doubtfire Face Challenge is... I'm still keeping at it because I was like, look, if they're going to do this shitty garbage with Tide Pods and blindfolding themselves and basically acting like complete morons on social media, then I'm going to keep at this. And this here, I think, is at least something that should help give awareness to something that, will benefit people. And, of course, I've had a few people that's taken part of it, including Nancy McLaughlin from Friday the 13th, Part 6, and Jason Lives. So, it's I think it's foolish, some of these stupid challenges that come out, so,
I gave Nancy my new number because I gave her my new number, and she ended up calling me, and I think a day or two after I told her it. And we had a nice chat, and I told her maybe I can have you on for a second interview or something. I told her that the first interview would obviously go in my other book that I'm working on, The Ultimate Slasher Movie Encyclopedia, but I told her that she can, that I would love to interview her and even just put it on iTunes and Spotify and just, talk and chat about Friday the 13th and other projects she's working on and all that stuff. But yeah, and I'm a huge fan of the soap opera Days of Our Lives, and Nancy McLaughlin is friends with the actor and actress that played Doug and Julie Williams, and she goes to Bible school with them, and she was at Bible school the one time, and she called me, and she ended up putting them on the phone, and I spoke to them, and I was like so thrilled. Like, I was like, oh my God, I'm actually talking to Bill and Susan Seaforth Hayes. Like, this is amazing.
Yeah, I'm still in touch with Nancy, and she's doing a web series right now. First series was Jack Marshall Can't Do This. Right now it's The Moonstone you get to see her house in all these web series scenes. So I've been enjoying that. But yeah, Nancy did the Doubtfire Face Challenge, and she threw that out there. But I do know that Adrian King was nominated by both of us, and Lar Park Lincoln was definitely reached out by both of us, and I'm still awaiting them. And I know Adrian King had said she's going to do it, so I don't know. Like, Nancy McLaughlin said, a lot of it is preparing to do it. He said a lot of times, like, doing it is easy. A lot of people get stalled in the thought of going about doing it, and I'm like, it's really not that difficult. You just need to buy a whipped cream and
it really isn't that difficult, because I mean, when you nominated me, I think it was the next day or the day after that, because usually we have the interview on a Saturday, so it might have been that Monday. I literally went right into town, went to the store, picked up the ingredients to, I just got a pie tray with the crust that's already made. I got whipped cream, just covered the pie tray with whipped cream, and I just smashed it in my face, and that's all I did. And it literally took me, 5 minutes of my time and a couple of bucks, and I did it, and my dad enjoyed it.
Yeah. No, I hate hassling people about it, but I know I've been given a yes by Adrian King. I haven't talked to Lar Park Lincoln. It's not always easy to get hold of her, so yeah. But
and I know even Jennifer Bonco, I nominated her, and originally she said that they both said that they would do it together when they're in the same area. Well, guess what? They're both on 13 Fanboy.
Lar Park Lincoln's on 13 Fanboy?
Yeah, I think so, isn't she?
Not that I know of.
Oh, maybe she's not.
Jennifer Bonco is.
It was Jennifer. It was Jennifer. That's right. Because Jennifer played. Remember, they played the same character, young, older version of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Crap is right about that.
Yeah.
I was thinking that would have been the perfect opportunity for them both to do it.
Well, I hate failing at something, especially since it's a shitty religious group that reviews movies. I think you know who I'm talking about. Those,
Yes,
but
I know you.
oh yeah, the bunch of assholes. They just wrote an article about friggin' suicide and depression, and of course they used it all to friggin' plug their website and plug their book. I'm like, you bunch of assholes. It's like I'm not asking people for money. I'm asking did people do this for awareness, you know? So,
Right.
and I don't know how many charities, and this is another thing too, I don't know how many charities I've donated to based on just my interview guests asking me to support a cause. And I'm like, it annoys me when I don't get the return response on the Doubtfire Challenge. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
And I mean, I did the Doubtfire Challenge, and you also donated to the Brain Cancer Research Foundation.
Absolutely, that's how it works. That's how it works with me. But I do know that there was a couple of guests that I made a donation to their cause on Facebook, and I got a thank you from both of them. But neither one of them, they were both males, neither one of them acknowledged that they didn't do the Doubtfire Challenge.
Wow.
And that kind of bothered me.
I bet. Like, I mean, and it's not like you're asking for money. Like, you're donating actual money that you work for. But all they're doing is putting a couple of bucks that I'm sure they afford being actors and all that. You know, a couple of bucks, just for the material to make the pie. You don't have to bake a pie. All you do is get the pie crust and whipped cream and just, slather the whipped cream all up in the pie crust and make it look like a pie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's all you got to do, and then you just put it in your face. I mean, it's not hard to do. It doesn't cost a lot of money. It doesn't cost much of your time. And that's what I even think about. Like, I know people are busy, like the actors and actresses are busy, some of them that I asked to interview, which I get. I understand you're busy. I'm also busy. But I'm able to take 15 minutes out of my time to interview you. Why can't you give me 15 minutes of yours? I mean, for example, Miguel A. Nunez Jr., he played Demon in Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have enough time to do an interview on his own time, but he was in hair and makeup, so he agreed to do an interview while he was getting his hair and makeup done on the film set.
Okay.
Like, that is a perfect example of making use of your spare time to, conduct an interview. And the interview is free. I'm not asking for any money. I'm not going to pay for it either. But you're getting free publicity for works that you're working on. If you're contractually not able to talk about it, you can promote your IMDb page for them to know that you have future projects that you are working on that you can speak about, so they can look at it on there. So you're getting your projects free publicity at that point.
Yep.
And I don't get why they don't want to make 15 minutes of their time to, do that. And I also, when I spoke to Debbie Sue Voorhees, she said she's going to speak to Judy Aronson for me and try to get her to come, get her to, have an interview with me regarding Friday the 13th. And I told her I'll even plug in for a 13 fanboy during the interview.
Judy Aronson, actually, before we get to Judy Aronson, I'm going to say one thing, too, about Adrienne King. I even made a donation to one of those. I forget what the charity was, but it was one of those. It was one of those site things for I don't know whether it was disabled people or what it was. I forget now what it was, but I made a donation to that too. So, but I'm still holding out promise on Adrienne King because I know that she's always said she would do it. So I'm holding out promise on that one. But
I know it doesn't take much of your time. So if you're asked to do it, take 5-10 minutes out of your time to go to the store, get the ingredients, quickly get the whipped cream and the pie filling, and just put it in your face. And I mean, it doesn't take much of your time. It's for a good cause. I mean, what is the harm to do it? I mean, the only thing I can think of that people wouldn't want to do it is that either they're lazy or they just don't believe in the cause. And then if that's the case, just say, I don't feel comfortable doing it. Just be honest about it. Don't say you're going to do it and then don't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and now getting to Judy Aronson, she's somebody I haven't interviewed. I would like to. It's interesting because I interviewed Ted White. It would be almost 3 years ago, and I remember Ted White actually gave me her number to get in touch with her, and I didn't call her because I didn't want to freak her out. But it was one of these situations where I would message her on Facebook, and I'd get the indication that she'd read it, but she never got back to me, which I find that happens quite a lot, and it always frustrates me. It's just say yes or no, or how about at such and such a time down the future. Because I've had guests that taken me as long as 2 years to get into, and they've, just a matter of scheduling. But I eventually called the number for Judy Aronson, and somebody picked up, and it wasn't her. And I called Ted White about it, and Ted White said, yeah, that's the number. And Ted White was kind of flabbergasted.
Wow, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I interviewed Ted White, and he spoke about publicly about the incident where he almost quit playing Jason because of the incident with Judy Aronson and her death scene where she got hypothermia.
Yeah, that was pretty ugly, and there was no need for that. Yep, no need for it.
And he said he said he understands that a movie had to be made and the scene needed to be shot. He said he understood that, and that is okay with him. He said what wasn't okay with him is when he told the director that she was literally freezing, turning blue, teeth chattering, she's going to be sick. And he said, get her out and warm her up a little bit and then do the scene again. And he's like, no, I can't do that because I have a movie I got to be made. And that's when he got pissed, and he said that he was going to, he said, either warm her up or I'm out. You find yourself a new Jason. And I really admire Ted White for that, because if he did not speak up, then Judy might have gotten a lot worse than what she actually did suffer from after that incident. And she suffered a lot from what I was told.
Yep. Nope. So I'm hoping to get her on as well. And with 13 Fanboy, hopefully that'll open up some possibilities for me too. And it's also interesting, there's people from the franchise involved with this project that supported it that aren't in the movie. Like I know, for example, Adam Marcus contributed to it, and his wife Deborah Sullivan, who I just recently had on at the end of last year, also. So, but I know that the video that was shot for it. I mean, you see support from Barbara Bingham, Carrie Moore, and I'm guessing that they supported it. So
exactly.
There you go.
What do you think about the death of Steve Dash?
Yes, Steve Dash recently passed away. Of course, he played Jason in Friday the 13th Part 2. Yeah, I've reached out to him once or twice, and I know he read the message, but he never ever got back to me. So, yeah.
I actually had an interview scheduled with him for January, and obviously that's not going to happen now because he passed away, which is ironic because I also had an interview in January scheduled with Dominic Braskia, who played Joey in Part 5. And I scheduled that a couple months ago, and he said he was having some medical issues, and he said he's free in January. He said he'll put in a schedule January. I forget the date that he gave me, but obviously he passed away not long after we made the scheduling, and we weren't able to do anything with that neither. I'm like, geez, all the people I'm having for January are passing away at this point, and here I spoke to Dee Wallace's agent. I spoke to somebody that represents Dee Wallace, and they wanted money to interview her. But then I spoke to you about that, and you told me you gave me your email that's on her website and told me to go through the website and message out. And then I heard back from the person that runs her website, and they said that she's quite busy, she's out of town a lot, for December, but January she's going to be free. So email us back in January, which I'm going to do now that I mentioned it, because I just remembered about it. Since I spoke to you now about it, I'm going to email back now and see if she has any free time in her schedule to discuss the first Halloween that Rob Zombie made in 2007, and maybe even do some Cujo or something, or maybe I'll even wait off on the Cujo part, because I know in the second edition of the Ultimate the Ultimate Slasher Movie Encyclopedia, because I would like to do a second edition eventually. I want to include like a Stephen King chapter where I include like Misery, Thinner, Christine, I had Children of the Corn in the first edition, but I like to include like Cujo and all that stuff, and an entire chapter dedicated to Stephen King film adaptations, and I would like to interview Dee Wallace again for that, and that would be pretty cool. But yeah, I would like to interview her. Actually, I'm part of Halloween 2007 by Rob Zombie, and you interviewed her, and she seems really nice. I think you even said you met her.
I met her at Horrorama last year, and she remembered me.
Yeah, and I can't wait to actually interview her. I'm going to email her back, and I have a couple other people that I'm in negotiations with that I'm waiting to hear back from. I heard back, and they said that they would discuss it with them, and one of them is one of the agents represents Kane Hodder, and she says she's going to do her best to get in touch with him, but I haven't heard back from her, and it's been about a month now. So she told me if I don't hear back within a month or two, to email her back for an update, because she gets a lot of requests for her clients, so it's kind of hard to manage all the people you get, you know what I mean?
I interviewed Mike Aloisi, the author of a couple of books Kane Hodder was part of, and Mike Aloisi knows Kane Hodder, but he had told me that Kane is really, really busy, and it's hard to get him. He is going to try to put me in touch with Tom Savini. He did say that, but which I think is every bit as great. But
Tom Savini is. I think Tom Savini is Friday the 13th. I mean, everybody has their favorite star or favorite crew member. People like Sean Cunningham or Adam Marcus or Kane Hodder or whatever. And then there's people like Victor Miller. But then there's Tom Savini. I believe he's like a legend, and because he's not just known for Friday the 13th, the original and Part 4, but he's also like known for was it The Burning? I think he was part of. He was part of a lot of classic films and did a lot of classic special effects. Mm-hmm. And he would be a big hit for both Python's Paradise and even if I could get in touch with him. But that's amazing. He's definitely a big name that would do wonders. And imagine him doing the Doubtfire Challenge. I think that would be a huge
thing
too.
Yeah. But Kane Hodder was another one of these ones that Ted White gave me the phone number to as well. Again, I never called it, but I'm reluctant to call because it's a matter of I don't want to freak somebody out. Right. And I know, but I heard when I was interviewing Mike Aloisi, he told me that Kane is really busy, but Mike's also been very responsive to me too with regards to Tom Savini, who's right now in the midst of doing a book. So I've got some good cooperation, and maybe through 13 Fanboy I might get Kane Hodder. I don't know.
Right, you might get Kane Hodder, you might get C.J. Graham, Judy Aronson, and all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised. I mean, did I reach out to Jennifer Bonko? I don't remember if I reached out to her for an interview or not, but I did speak to her on the phone briefly a couple years ago when my parents went to Hawaii, and I knew she was living in Hawaii at the time, and she was working at the Hard Rock Cafe down there. I guess she was either a waitress or a hostess or whatever, and I messaged her because she just recently added me on Facebook at that time, and I messaged her and I asked her. I said my parents are in Hawaii on vacation, and I'm a big fan of yours. I love the film Friday the 13th Part 7 that you're in. Would you be able to meet up with my parents and maybe get some pictures so I can see it? Because I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to be in Hawaii. And she's like, yeah. She goes, tell them I'm done at such and such a time, and this is where I'm located on this island or whatever. And so my parents said they weren't able to go meet her. And here I got a phone call from my dad though, because I was very upset that entire day. Like my day was ruined, and I got a phone call from my dad, and I go, "Hey, Dad, just want to let you know that." I go, "Hey, Dad, what's up?" He said, "She goes, this isn't your father." I'm like, "What do you mean this isn't my father?" I'm like, "Jennifer Blanco?" And he surprised me with a phone call from her. Like, their plan was to meet with her after I told him what time she's done and everything. He's like, "We can't go meet her. We don't have enough time." But that was all, I guess, a ruse just to surprise me. Because they were going to surprise me originally with pictures. But I guess he had the plan on asking if she would do a quick phone call with me. And I was like crying on the phone and everything. I was like, "Oh my God, this is actually happening." She's like, "Oh my God, don't cry." It was very sweet, and she was in I believe, the new Peanuts movie as a voice. I think she played Lucy, if I'm not mistaken, or was it Peppermint Patty? One of them, she played one of the girls in the Peanuts movie that came out a couple years ago. And now she's going to be in 13 Fanboy as well, and I think that's going to be a good hit of a movie. And I think a lot of people are going to like it because it's not a Friday the 13th movie. It isn't a Friday the 13th movie. Debbie Suvorhees stretched like she made that a point in the interview I had with her. It is not a Friday the 13th movie. But when she went into details about what it is, it seems like it would be even better because it's like it's this fanboy basically, and he's going to be stalking his favorite actors and actresses. From what I've understood from what she said. So, going after the actors and actresses that played these classic characters in Friday the 13th, but in real life, like their real lives, not like their character, but like who they are in that.
Yeah, Adrienne King ended up turning it down because she's very supportive of the project, but apparently, she had a real life stalker incident. So, but my suggestion to them, they haven't got anybody from part 2. I think that they should get Amy Steele.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah.
Amy Steele would be great, and I think she would be the perfect final girl because she would be, like, right now they don't have any final girls from any of the Friday the 13th films that I'm aware of.
No.
So and obviously all slasher movies have a final girl. Sometimes they have a final guy with the girl, but usually it's always a final girl. So I think what they should do is get Amy Steele to be the final girl. And I think that would do wonders for the film as well because I think she would be amazing as a final girl. I think she was in part 2. Everybody loved that movie.
She's also a favorite among a lot of the fans. But right now, like they've got Ari Lehman from they played Jason in part 1. He's providing music for the film or a song for the film, so he's involved. Part 2 right now they don't have anybody, so I think Amy Steele will be ideal. Part 3 they've got Tracy Savage. The Final Chapter, part 4, they've got Judy Aronson. Part 5, A New Beginning, Debbie Suvorhees is obviously involved, Ron Sloan is in this, and Carol Locatel's apparently making a cameo in it, I think, with Ron, which will be great. And part 6, Jason Lives, they have C.J. Graham and Tom Matthews in it. I think Tom Matthews should definitely be a survivor as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. And then, of course, part 7, they've got Jennifer Blanco. And, of course, Kane Hodder, who played Jason, spans part 7, 8, 9, and 10, So the main roster of films, they got somebody from everybody except for part 2. So that's why I recommend Amy Steele, and plus she's one of the favorites for the heroines for that series. So, yeah, I think so.
I think like I said to you, I think that, like you said, the part 2 is going on from the main parts of the film, but they also don't have anybody from Freddy vs. Jason or the reboot, which by the they're not part of the original timeline, or like the original they would call it the first 8, so to speak. But like they do have technically Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X with Kane Hodder. But I think maybe if they did go the route of getting everybody from all 12 films, I would say from the reboot, maybe Arlen Escarpeta. He was pretty good. I liked him. He was in a lot of big movies too. Like he was on the Lifetime TV movie of Whitney. Played Bobby Brown, Whitney's husband, Whitney Houston. I think he would be good. Or even Derek Mears, who played Jason. That would be pretty cool.
And they got the 2 people involved with Never Hike Alone as well. And if you haven't seen that, I really enjoyed it.
Yep, I actually watched that the other day. I wanted to tell you that during this interview.
Yeah.
And it was actually pretty good. And I think the part I liked the most about it wasn't just Tom Matthews being at the end. Sorry, spoiler alert, for those that didn't see it. But I think that the best part about it was where they have the like police, I guess was a tape or whatever it was, like the ribbons of indicating all the original deaths in the first film. That was really clever. I enjoyed that part of it because it brought back an homage to the original film of exactly what happened and, you know what I mean, where everything happened and all that. And they referenced it. It was pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, some of it I think was a little bit off though, like the barn, for example. Like that would have been Higgins Haven, and that was not at the original campground.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I do. I also think though, I think they should get one of the original 8 directors to be in 13 Fanboy. Granted, yeah, they're not on screen. They were never on screen. Well, some of them were, I guess, as cameos. But I mean, like they were never a main character.
Yeah, but why the first 8?
It doesn't even have to be the first 8. Just like, I mean, even like what I was thinking, get Adam Marcus to be in it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I would think that would be amazing. Because, I mean, right now the premise is, like, there's this fanboy, he's stalking all of his favorite, you know, actors and actresses that were in Friday the 13th. But why not get Adam Marcus? He might not have been on screen, but...
yeah, he was on screen a little bit.
And maybe, like, you know, use the humor that a lot of people don't like. You know, how a lot of people don't like Jason Goes to Hell. Maybe use it to the advantage of this fanboy absolutely is obsessed with it. And he wants to get Adam Marcus because it was such a great movie and he's obsessed with the movie or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, obviously I don't know how to write it in right now. I don't take time to think of. That would be Debbie Sue's job or whoever's screenwriting it. But I think that would be amazing. You know, get that he's obsessed with Jason Goes to Hell. And I loved the movie personally. I thought it wasn't that bad. I mean, it was different, but I don't think it was the worst in the franchise.
Well, I prefer that to Jason Takes Manhattan or even The New Blood, to be honest.
Exactly. I would say that get Adam Marcus. I mean, you don't need to have just on-screen cast. I mean, people might not. I mean, a lot of people, if you're a fan of Friday the 13th, know who Adam Marcus is. You have him on your Facebook. You know who he is. You know what he looks like now. But I would say, like, even for those that are going to watch it that don't know who Adam Marcus is, but they watched the film. You know,
well, he was in Jason Goes to Hell. He was one of the cops.
He was in play the cop, yeah.
Yeah.
But I would say, like, for those that like don't know, like, that he was the director, you know, make mention that however they were to mention it, like, you know, maybe have him on the phone promoting Secret Santa, like say.
Yeah, I had his wife, Deborah Sullivan, on. I'm actually awaiting Secret Santa to come in the mail.
Right, nice.
Yeah, it looks so bizarre.
Have Adam Marcus in the movie and have him calling the like somebody about Secret Santa. Say, hey, did you hear Secret Santa did well in the box office type of thing, and it's on or doing well in DVD sales. And he goes, Adam, that's amazing. And you go, do you think it's doing just as good as your first feature film you directed, Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday? And then like plug both of them in at the same time. You know what I mean?
Well, between, you know, I know we've done a lot of, I know Debbie Suvorius will love those plug-in 13 Fanboy, and I did send her some pictures of myself for her to decide what she wants to use in that scene with Tracy Savage, but we do need to talk about your trivia books, and between the Halloween and Friday the 13th trivia book, how are they both doing? Like, which one's more popular?
Okay, so originally Friday the 13th trivia book, that was my first trivia book, and that one did amazing, and it still does sell quite a bit. I actually sell more between the months of September and December because of you know, Halloween coming up and then Christmas coming up. I sold more Halloween this year than I did Friday the 13th, or as of 2018, I should say. I sold more Halloween than Friday the 13th, and it's pretty even in 2018 regarding Halloween. It's funny because I sold a total in December over $200 in royalties, and that is the most I've sold in a single month online sales. Now, obviously, a lot of my sales were through in-person sales because they want them personally autographed. But in terms of online royalty sales, I sold more in December than I've done in any since I've been published. From my knowledge, the Ultimate Friday Halloween Trivia book, the first one, it sold just as much in December, the same exact number. I think it was 19 copies, if I'm not mistaken. And I just came out in Halloween of 2018 was the Ultimate Halloween Trivia book, second edition. It's the same exact book as the first Halloween Trivia book, same exact book, except there's a couple editions. The one edition is that it has a new chapter with the new Halloween film from 2018.
Mm-hmm.
That's included as I believe the 11th chapter, and then there's an added 12th chapter now, which is the same thing as the 11th chapter in the first edition, which is the Halloween mashup. It's been moved back a chapter to accommodate the new Halloween film, and added to that chapter is an 11th part. Now, the same 10 parts are in it, but there's an 11th part, which I remember, like when I was interviewed with Python's Paradise last year, I mentioned about how I've been getting a lot of backlash regarding the Ultimate Halloween Trivia book not including a word search, like I did with the Friday the 13th trivia book. Well, in the second edition, you got your wish. You can buy the second edition. You can have access to the Halloween 2008 chapter, which is 100 multiple choice questions, and have access to an 11th part in the Halloween mashup, which is a word search regarding the Halloween franchise and all that. And that was added to that book as well. Jamie Lee Curtis's foreword is still in it, and it's untouched. It's a little more expensive because there's quite a few more pages in the book compared to the other. I believe the first edition is 140 pages, and if I'm not mistaken, the second edition I believe is 155 pages or 154 pages, something like that. So yeah, it's basically the same exact thing with an added chapter of the Halloween 2018 film and added word search. And I mean, I sold 19 of each copies, if I'm not mistaken, on in December alone, and I sold also like 6 or 7 Friday the 13th trivia books then too. But I've been selling a lot more Halloween second edition than I've been selling out of any of them. But I think Halloween first and second edition are kind of tied up. They're getting close to each other for at least for the December and November Christmas months. But yeah, Halloween actually the second edition actually did pretty well with initial sales. Within the first 2 months of it being released. I think that was actually pretty good, and I didn't expect it to sell at that as quickly. And it's funny because when I look at my sales, a lot of them are in the U.S., but I had like 6 sales in the United Kingdom, and I had about 4 sales in other parts of Europe that use Euro currency, whether it be Germany, Italy, and all that stuff. I know that the Great British Pounds, I believe, is what is used in the United Kingdom area, and that's I had like a couple sales there. But overall, total sale was 19, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, each of the Halloween books, and they did pretty well. I think it's going to be a great book that people should get if they haven't gotten it. If you have gotten the first edition, then buy the second edition for the added chapter and the word search. If you haven't gotten the first edition, I wouldn't obviously, it might be bad marketing to say this, but I'm still going to say it because I care about my fans and I care about what they get and everything of mine. So I would say if you haven't gotten the first edition, just get the second edition because you will get the added chapter and the word search and everything that was in the first edition as well. So, I don't want you to, buy both books thinking that they're going to be different. But if you have bought the first one, if you want, to test your knowledge on the new film and you want to see what's going on, you want to see what's going on with the word search, then I say go for it. Like I said, it's updated. It still has the same foreword from Jamie Lee Curtis in it, so you're not missing out on that if you just get the second edition. I have a friend on Facebook, and he's a fan of mine. I never met him in person. I only know him through him buying my books and that. He bought all three of my trivia books. He bought the Friday the 13th one, he bought the Halloween first edition, and then he messaged me about the second edition, and he said, "Is that the same as the first edition? Did you add anything to it? If so, what'd you add?" And I told him, and he said, "Yeah, put me on. He put me up for that," and he bought that as well. And he said that if I keep coming out with horror trivia books and horror books and everything, he said he in a heartbeat will be spending all of his money on my book. He's a very dedicated fan of mine. He always wants an autograph, tells me who to autograph it to. If he tells me extra text to write in it, and I do that. And I obviously sign my name, and he's been a big fan of mine. So I'm very grateful for the fans that I have, for everybody that supports me. I have people as far as Australia that message me wanting to buy either my dad's book or whatever book, and they end up spending more on shipping than they do on the book. Like, shipping to Australia is usually $30 or so, or $20 or so, and then the Friday, then the book itself, like, for Christ, if he's cancer, $17. In the U.S. is $4 shipping. But most people, they spend, when they're in Australia, they're spending $17 on the book, but like $30 shipping.
Yeah.
And they do it because they're my fans, and they follow my dad's stories from the beginning. I just had somebody from Australia, buy my book. Oh, they didn't buy it yet, but they said that they will in about 2 weeks or so. When they get paid, they'll message me and they'll buy my book. But I also change subjects for just a little bit. I do want to mention this quick as well.
Mm-hmm.
I also am selling T-shirts and hoodies. And if anybody wants information, you can like my Facebook fan page. I'll mention that later when I plug my sites and everything. But you can see the images on Facebook of what the shirts and hoodies look like. It's $15 for a T-shirt, $30 for a hoodie. On the top of both shirts and hoodie, they're always going to be the color gray, and I'll explain why in a second. The shirts and the hoodies both say in an arc, like over a picture, says #Gray Lives Matter, then a picture of my dad in the center, and then underneath it says join the fight against cancer, with the A in cancer being a brain cancer awareness ribbon. The reason why the hoodies and the T-shirts are gray are because they are that's the color for brain cancer awareness. Okay. And like I said, it's $15 for a shirt, $30 for a hoodie. The shipping, I can't tell you. If you're local, obviously I won't charge you shipping if you're in the Ashland, Pennsylvania, Schuylkill County area. But if you're outside of the U.S. Or even inside the U.S., based on your location, how many shirts you want or hoodies you want, the price will vary on shipping, because it is very shipping matters because it goes by weight, because there's no like media mail type thing when it comes to that. So it won't be like $4 if you're in the 48 continents of the U.S. But what I would do is I would order from my merchandiser the shirts. If you want a copy, just tell me your sizes, just tell me your sizes or whatever, and I will I'll order them myself from my merchandiser, and you pay me through either check or PayPal. And then I will I'll obviously get the money back, and then any profit margins of the shirts that I have, they will go towards the National Brain Tumor Society, which is headquartered in I forget the place in Massachusetts, the town, but it's in Massachusetts, and I am in affiliation with the National Brain Tumor Society. We are in affiliation with each other. I am representing them as a sponsor. I am donating to them all on a monthly basis at the end of every month, all profit margin sales for both T-shirts and hoodies. So it depends on size for the T-shirts of what I pay for it, and then anything that I sell for whatever is left over for profit will go. I'll be donating strictly towards that foundation for every sale. So if you want a shirt or a hoodie of my dad and to join us in the fight against brain cancer, and to show that gray lives do matter and help us find a cure for this horrid disease, then please buy a shirt and a hoodie, because you'll be doing more help than you can even realize, because all profits are going right to that foundation where they do research and they do experiments and lab and all that stuff, start brain tumors and helping to find a cure. because of the money, we help donate with my birthday on Facebook and other people that donate towards these cures.
Yeah, that's
To
where
the
I
foundation.
donated. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And like just because of these donations, and you don't. I mean, even if you don't want a shirt or a hoodie, and you just want to donate, just give send me $1 or something or whatever, and or even just donate to them directly, or you can just send it to me, and I can make sure that they get it, the money. But as simple as $1 can be the biggest change in the world. To be the reason why a cure is found. I mean, that's the reason why now they have Opdivo and Avastin, which are treatments my dad is doing, because they found these treatments through the use of research that they had the money for and were able to fund due to people donating.
Yes.
So I think that it would be amazing for if anybody wanted to buy a shirt, and if you don't want to buy a shirt, that's perfectly fine. You can still donate to them on their website. You can donate. You can donate to me or through their Facebook. Anything you want to do, just let me know to help, and I'll be more than happy to do that. Obviously, Christ Peace Cancer, the profits aren't going toward anything of that for obvious reasons, because being an author, that's my living. That's what I'm making money off of. But all the shirt and hoodies profits are 100% are going towards any profit margins from when I buy it compared to what I'm selling it for. Anything, whatever that is, then I'm giving that right to the charity. And I really want to find a cure for it, so my dad can, obviously, live a normal life, and because our family's been going through hell the past 2.5 years or so, help find a cure for my dad and for everybody else that is suffering from the disease. I mean, it's something that I believe in. I'm a philanthropist, so I believe that we should find a proper cure and end this, and not just for brain cancer, but for all cancers as well.
Yes. We're talking about the Halloween trivia book. I was just wondering, what did you think of the 2018 Halloween? I went and saw it 4 times, so I really enjoyed it.
I really, really liked it. It was really good. I saw it on opening night in theater. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. It was well written, well acted. It had some unknowns like they did with Jamie Lee Curtis. I love the opening. And I'm not saying Jamie Lee Curtis was the unknown, but like they did with Jamie Lee Curtis in the original, they had I believe it was her granddaughter that was the unknown actress, and they introduced her in the credits like they did the Jamie Lee Curtis in the opening.
Mm-hmm.
In the first one, like I loved how they did that. They went back to the roots. I loved how they did. They ignore, even though they ignored everything from parts 2 to Rob Zombie's reboots. I still love that they still recognize them in parts of Easter eggs. I love that they did the ambulance crash scene from part 4 of Halloween. I loved how they did everything that they did. Like they did pretty much from everything. Was like from at least one thing from each movie. They did the bath scene from H2O. I love that they referenced Dr. Loomis as passing away and not how we assume he died at the hands of Michael Myers. At the end of Halloween, because Donald Pleasance passed away in real life.
Mm-hmm.
But I love how they, acknowledged him and who was his replacement. It was really well written. It was well done. I enjoyed it. They even had a lot of, some people don't know this, and this is in my trivia book as well, the second edition, but some people don't know PJ Souls was in the movie.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, she was the voice of the teacher.
Exactly. Yep, she was the voice of the teacher. And I also loved how from the original, you remember the original when Laurie was in class and she looked out, Michael Myers was standing there,
Mm-hmm.
and she looked away, answered the question, looked back, and he was gone. I love how they did that same exact scene with Laurie's, I believe it was her granddaughter, and instead of Michael Myers being there, it was Laurie Strode that was standing there. That was very clever.
Oh, they did that too when with the whole only instead Donald Pleasance, it's Michael Myers look over the side and Jamie Lee Curtis is not there. Yeah, they did a lot of reverse stuff like that.
Yes, and I enjoyed that a lot. I love that they did that. It was well written. Jamie Lee Curtis said she would love to do a sequel to that, to make like the 3. I guess for because obviously with Halloween 1 and 2 of the originals, they were pretty much the same movie but different movies, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So they were all done the same day after each other and all that. But But then Halloween 3 was something totally different. So I would love to see them do like they had Halloween 1, they have this one for kind of 40 years later and do like their own Halloween 3 type of thing. That would be pretty cool. But I mean, obviously do Halloween 3 as in with continuing the story. And the way it ended was great, and a lot of people don't notice this, and I do have this in my book as well, but a lot of people don't notice this, and some people did. I was one of them that caught it. My Aunt Candy caught it as well. But one thing I did notice was that you'd see Michael Myers burning, and he was in the basement and everything on fire and everything, and then it shifted away from him, and then they saw, I guess you could see Laurie and them kind of gone or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they were gone. I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyways, when the camera went back on the Michael in the fire, he was gone. He wasn't even in the fire in that room.
Yeah, either he wasn't in the fire or he or he burned.
Exactly, but if you look at it, he was just staring at Laurie, and like starting to burn up, and next thing you know, the camera shifts back and he was gone. I mean, you can assume that he burned up, but I think the intention there was to leave room for a sequel. That Michael did never die. Like he was in the fire, but now he's gone. Now where did he go? Type of thing.
Yeah.
And I think it was a really, really well done film, and it was one of the better films that was done. I kind of wish they brought back Jamie Lloyd. That would have been nice, but actually Danielle Harris.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that would. I don't know how they would have written it in the story that's now, but obviously it would have to be a lot changed. But it would have been nice if they brought Danielle Harris in, or at least mentioned Jamie Lloyd. If they're referencing all the films, even though they're ignoring the films, mentioned that Jamie had a daughter that died, but maybe not at the hands of Michael Myers. Maybe she died in a car crash, like Jamie thought.
Well,
did.
John Carpenter, I think, just wanted to wipe the slate clean of the sequels, and a lot of the sequels were made just to profit, and there was nothing behind them, and so personally for me, when it comes to viewing, I would probably watch Halloween 2, and then the new one, but
I agree with that. And the new one was, like I said, I said a bunch before, it was really well done. It really was, and it lived up to the hype and the expectation of what was of the franchise and what the film was meant to set out to be. And Jamie Lee Curtis even said herself that she would love to do a sequel to it, but only if the same writers and directors come back, because they are fans of the franchise. You can tell in the writing, you can tell in the filmmaking, you can tell how it was done, and she would love John Carpenter to also be on board, because he was the original mastermind behind the original Halloween, and him being as a producer kind of role helped them understand where to go with it as well and make it feel as authentic. But and that's the thing, they wanted it to be authentic, but they also wanted it to be they needed to be modernized. They couldn't it was 40 years later. It couldn't be back in the 70s or 80s type of feel. It had to be it was the same movie as 78, but in a modernized world. And I think they hit the nail on the head with it.
Yes, yeah, and what was I gonna say? Lost my train of thought. But nonetheless, anyway, I like the new movie, and as I said, I saw it 4 times. So yeah, it worked with me, and I liked what they did with it.
I agree.
I had a question lined up. I forgot what I was going to ask. Oh well. But anyway, let's cut to something else. I know we got screwed around this topic very carefully, but understand, you was at some kind of camp or something, and to do a signing, and you want to talk about that incident?
Yeah, so obviously I can't go into too much detail about it for both personal reasons and legality reasons. But I spoke to my agent about it, and we discussed on what should be said and how it should be said to avoid issues on both sides. But I was invited for a book tour, actually, for 3 days at a camp, and we ended up. I ended up having the first sign. It was the first day of the signing, and I was doing the signing, and I how can I say this? It was I guess they found something about me, but it's not bad. It's not illegal. It's not anything wrong with it that I believe. And they found out about it, and they apparently didn't approve of it. And it's nothing, like I said, it's nothing that I've done in my past. It's nothing that I've done bad, or nothing that I've done illegal, or no crime, no criminal, nothing like that. It's just something about me personally. And they ended up finding out about it, and they decided that I wasn't meant to, I guess, to be a part of the camp, of their camp, and they ended up ejecting me from the premises, and it was very embarrassing, very unprofessional on their end. I mean, even my legal team told me I could have taken action, but I decided not to.
I would have.
I know, and I could have. I decided that I just wanted to let the issue go down. I didn't want to have to deal with bring all that up, because it was so embarrassing, so traumatizing. It was very humiliating, and I didn't want to kind of relive it. Because I just wanted it to be in the past, pretend it never happened type of situation. It's just one of those things that people that are hateful and vindictive, that they end up as you know, people in this world, they not everybody is all rainbow and lollipop, so to speak. They're not all lovey-dovey. They don't all accept everybody, whether it be based on race, religion, political standpoint, sexual orientation, gender, anything. In a perfect world, you would hope there was equality for everybody of all categories. And for me personally, I believe that you should accept everybody, no matter who they are, because I believe if you live in a world that everybody is the same old, then it's going to be one very boring world, basically. I think that the differences between people based on religion, political status, gender, race, sexuality, all that different stuff included, I believe makes a very diverse world. And unfortunately, for people of color, or for people of different religious backgrounds, or sexuality, and genders and ages and all this, that, and the other, it affects people to the point that they become homophobic or racist, and they bully, or they signal out people of who they are, and they don't accept them. And I believe that that's kind of what happened in a way, that I was signaled out based on me, and I don't think that was appropriate. I think that it was very unjust and very cruel and very I don't know, just a traumatic, embarrassing incident. And it was when I ended up packing up, and I ended up leaving, and when I left, everybody was watching me. Everybody that I guess that was there was watching me leave, and I was they knew who I was. They knew I was there for a signing. I was promoted, and it was very embarrassing. And I mean, that's basically the story in a nutshell. I never really spoke out about it on social media. I never spoke out about it, anywhere other than here right now. And I spoke to my agent, and I spoke to my legal team that represents me and my agent, and we all discussed. They gave me an outline of what I can and cannot say. Obviously, I can't mention anything by name. I can't, do anything like that. I can't speak in detail about what happened for obvious reasons. But I am able to speak briefly about what happened. And I mean, I asked him, "Do you think I should?" Because I don't want anything to arise from it. He said, "You live in America. You did nothing wrong. You can speak in. You have the right of the First Amendment of the free speech, and you can voice your opinion on the matter as long as you don't mention anybody by name, and don't talk bad about them, or don't slander, harass, or do anything like that. Then yeah, it's fair game. You're able to discuss it, because it's your story, and you're in America. You have the right of the First Amendment, and you have every reason to be humiliated by something that affected you, that you didn't do wrong." And I wanted to speak out about it briefly. I don't want to say who they are, because not just because of repercussions of issues arising, but I believe of being the bigger man and taking the high road, and like speaking about it without shaming somebody or a company or organization or anything. Like I mean, obviously, like what they did was wrong, but I'm the bigger man, and I'm not going to let what they did hurt me, and I'm not going to shame them publicly for what they have done, even though I have every right to do so, both in terms of the First Amendment and in terms of legality, where I could have easily, and my legal team did tell me I could have sued for a couple of things. One is a third-degree felony, and the other three were first-degree misdemeanors, and I could have easily done that, but I took the high road.
I think you should have sued them.
Huh?
I think you should have sued them.
I was very close to doing it that day.
I think you should have. I think people like that need to. I mean, they invited you there to do a book signing, or that was what you're there for, right?
Yep, it was a book signing.
Yep.
My dad's book.
Exactly. Christ Defeats Cancer, and I know about the situation in detail, but I won't go into it. But you've done nothing wrong. And they turn around, pull this little high up in the high horse kind of action on you. Yeah, if it was me, there'd be a couple things happen. Number one, they wouldn't be standing around watching me pack up, because I would probably be arrested for assault right there. I would not put up with that. And yeah, I would sue them.
Yeah,
I would have sued them. I wish you had have.
When I spoke to my legal team, I actually had them file all the paperwork, and obviously they can't represent me, my legal team, because they're based out in California and they're entertainment lawyers, but they know the laws of all aspects of everything. And since they're entertainment lawyers, they know the laws of, defamation of character and harassment and slander and hate speech, all that different stuff. They know all those laws. Even though they're entertainment lawyers, but they're in California and I'm based in Pennsylvania, so they are, even though they represent me as my legal team, they can't legally represent me in a court of law, but they can represent me as giving me contracts for production or giving me advice on situations that result in legal matters, and then they go and they find the best attorney, and then the my agency that I'm based out of, he is my agent, and that they would pay either, I don't know if they pay all of it or if they pay some of it, based on who the lawyer is. Like, it's probably like they would get the best lawyer in Pennsylvania, and they would pay, I believe from what I was told, if I remember correctly, they would pay half of the attorney fees, and I would pay the other half. And then they would, and this is for any situation, not just this, they would pay half of the payment for the lawyer that represents me. I would pay the second half. If I win, then they would reimburse me the second half I paid the lawyer.
Yes. Well, you know what?
I mean, I was very close to it. They filed the paperwork and everything, and they even got me. They even got in touch with an attorney, and the attorney called me back, and I changed my mind because I realized it was so embarrassing, and I don't want to relive what happened. It could get very messy, which I didn't really feel like, even if it got messy, I didn't feel like it would have been a bad thing, but like I would have been okay. But I just didn't want to relive it. It was so humiliating, embarrassing, and I just wanted it to be behind me and in the past.
Yeah, but same token, I get what you're saying, but this prevents them from being able to do this again. I think you would have damaged them a lot more than your embarrassment.
That is true. I even told that to my mom and my dad and everybody. I said to everybody like that I told the full thing to. There's only a select few that know what happened, but I told them all that. I mean, I could have taken them to the cleaners. I could have, gotten a lot out of it. I could have done so much, but that's not the person I am, and you know this because you've known me for quite a few years now. And I am a very, very nice person. I'm very cool. I mean, I'm humble, but I could be egotistical, I guess. But I'm very down to earth. I love other people. I would do anything for anybody if it's possible. I'm that type of person, and the fact that I didn't, take legal action. It was just because even though I knew I could have done so much damage to them and I just felt that taking the high road was the better bet because I wanted to be the bigger man.
Well, I wonder if these idiots realized that they were wrong. Did these idiots realize that they could potentially be hauled in for that?
I don't know actually. When I did speak to my legal team, though, he said that I can change my mind as to whenever I want. I have the statute of limitations for those offenses would be up to 15 years. So I can. So he said if I even wanted to wait till the 14th year, for all I know, I can still do it. I can do it whenever. I have 15 years to do it before it becomes a null and void situation. So, I mean, I didn't say I'm going to, and I don't know if I will in the future. I don't know what the future holds. But as of now, I'm not at the point that I want to pursue it. I just want to leave things go at this point. I just want to live my life. I want to focus on my production company, my books, and, I want to focus on, all that and my friends and family and, my dad's health and just, leave that. And I think that might have been another thing that also prevented me from going any further was my dad's health, because I don't know. I mean, I know obviously I didn't do nothing wrong, but I didn't want to drag my dad with what he's going through and my family alone is going through to go through this with something that could be a big legal battle, or I don't know. But I just felt that I didn't want to do that to my dad as well. I felt that I just leave it go and take the high road, just be the bigger man, and sometimes, as they say, I forget who, I might have even made this quote up, I don't know, but I've heard, I mean, one thing you can say is that sometimes it takes a big man to take justice into his own hands and to get legal action or whatever, but it takes a bigger man to forgive, to forget, to move on, and to just live his life and not do any damage to anybody else. Basically, love their neighbor. Love their, you know what I mean? Even if they aren't the nicest of people, it takes a bigger man to forgive and to forget and to love the person, even if they have done unthinkable, questionable, embarrassing, humiliating, and unforgivable things.
You know what my suggestion would be? Number one, keep that option open. But number two, you should write up a scene like that in your film.
That's a good idea, though. I think
and have them be victims.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I am going to be honest with you, though, I am actually I'm not considering it. I am going to do it. I am going to put in a scene, because I do have a scene in the original web series script that now I'm putting into a film adaptation script. But I am going to put a scene when we go to bed where I just basically go to the bathroom to change, and I come back, and then we go to bed or whatever, and I'm just in my kind of like pajama bottom type things. I always sleep in my underwear to begin with. I would probably just I'll probably keep a shirt on, and I'll probably put the Scotty underwear on. I'm actually, if you think about it, it might be a horror, but it's also a comedy. If you think about it, what better comedy aspect to have that we do a whole scene? I have to figure out how to write it, but to have me, get ready for bed, take off my pants, keep my shirt on, and have my Scotty underwear on, and then on top of that, we have like somebody that's in the scene, probably Ben, the character of Benji, who's a smart ass guy, have him say something about the underwear, like, "What the hell, dude? You're actually wearing your face on your underwear?" Something like that, I think that would be very, very cool. Obviously the way I would write it, because the person playing the character is based on who he is. I had an envisioned of one of my friends who I would like to play the role. And he's very smart ass, and that's what I kind of got this character off of. And I asked him if he was going to play the character, and he said, "Oh my God, yes." He said, "I don't even have to act. This is just me." And when I write the script, I don't expect the script to be read word for word for dialogue. I expect them to, as long as they don't go off the plot point, if they can improvise some of the scene to make, enhance it. And he is very good at improvising, and he improvised some of the scenes that we have in the actual script, like during one of our table readings we had before. He improvised a scene that was so freaking good, that was written similar to how he said it, but he improvised it with a few added words and some words removed, and it was so funny and so sarcastic at the same time. It literally popped the scene from paper to literally right in front of you in real life. Like, it was done amazingly. Like, it was really done. And some of the jokes, I'm not gonna lie, they're like, it is a comedy, but it also is a horror. So it's a horror comedy. So if you're having children watch it, I'm gonna say beware, not just because like of the horror aspect, but because a lot of the comedy jokes, a lot of them are like a lot of them are like adult humor jokes. Not all sexual, but a lot of it is like there are a lot of like jokes, but the jokes that are written are done that it flows with the dialogue that meets it. Like, it literally is done well. I want to tell you so bad this one joke that I've written, but I can't because of the NDA clause, and we can't really talk much about like what's actually said in the script itself. But I would love to tell you this one joke, but I definitely will once the movie like once we're able to discuss more about the script itself. I will, maybe even next year. By this time next year, I can even mention that you know, that dialogue scene. But oh my God, it's an adult sexual type joke, but it is meant based on the action sequence that happened prior. So like basically, and I'm not gonna say the quotes. I can't. There's only so much I can say, but I will say that the clown in himself squirts like throws some type of water at me. I forget how I have it written in the script, but like the water goes in my face and like wipe it off, and then I make a very suggestive comment regarding it, and then the smart ass Benji character ends up following up with the sexual joke, like with the punchline of it.
Yeah.
It's written well. It's an adult humor joke, but it's not bad enough. Like, it will go over probably kids' heads, but it is the point that it's very funny. It fits the type of style the film is, and it actually is done in a way that matches the prior dialogue and action of that entire scene. So it really is well done, and there's a lot of jokes in there like that. One joke, actually, I did speak to that was one scene that I was not able to really talk about of what it said in the script. But this scene I am allowed to talk about because it's nothing really to do with like plot development of like of, you know what I mean. But so the one character would be Jordan's mom. I play Jordan. She is like a chain smoker, and she always smokes a lot, and like especially when she's stressed, and she's always stressed. And the one quote we say to her is that is something along the lines, I forget how I have it written, like I said, but it's written perfectly, would be like, it's something like, do you know that, you're going to end up, she goes, this stress is going to kill me. He goes, not if the cigarettes kill you first. So, like, kind of like good humor like that as well. Like, there's subtle type of jokes, and they're like kind of like common type of jokes, but they're done in a way that's funny. And the kills, I'm not gonna lie, I mean there is some blood involved, but some of the kills, like, so I can't say what they are obviously, but some of the kills that are done in a way that they might be bloodless, but they're done, but the way that they're being acted by both the killer and the character, like, I'm thinking of one scene in particular. It's very bloodless. It's a very common death scene in horror movies, but it is done in such a way that it has a huge, scary impact to it based on who is doing the killing. So it's really something that everybody should look out for. It's got a bit of dark humor, adult humor, even some kid humor. It's got, like, family humor, that type of stuff. It has some horror stuff involved, thriller, suspense. The very first scene, I literally wrote the entire cold open already, and it is amazingly done. The effects are great. I can't wait to see it be performed live, be filmed. It's going to be to the point that, like, oh my gosh, like, what's going to happen? Like, it's got that eerie feeling to it just because of the effects and, like, the opening sequence. It's really going to be something that is going to blow away a lot of people just starting the film. And yeah, it's going to be good. And we also have a music producer on board to help us with our music. I'm working. Gray Stones is in association with him, and we're working together for a local musical talent named her name is Ina, is her stage name.
Yep.
And we're working together to do a documentary on that and to do other things for her, and we're working together on that and all that. And in return, he's also working with Gravestone for helping with music production and all that stuff. So I'm really, like, the big things are actually really happening at this point, and it's really exciting. And the funny thing is, I did not get in touch with him. He did not get in touch with me. Ina is one of my really good friends, and she and I just randomly just because I wanted to help her out, just to be, show something cool. I wanted to show what Gravestone can do directing-wise. I had a very powerful directing software on my phone that I got, and I directed a music video of her singing a song, a Christmas song. And in return, he saw the video because I tagged her in it, and he's on her Facebook, and he saw the video. He said, "You have to ask Scotty if he wants to join our team and help direct your music videos." And I met with them, and we decided together that we're going to go in business. He's going to help Gravestone, and I'm going to help him.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yes.
Well, you know what? We're getting down near to 2 hours here. We got about 10 minutes, but I wanted to know, is there anything else you wanted to plug on here? First, you might want to plug, of course, a website or, where people can go to order your merchandise.
Right. So if you want to order an autographed copy of any of my books, or if you even want to get the T-shirts and hoodies, you can like my Facebook fan page and send me a message on there, which is www.facebook.com/smccoyauthor. You can also order any of my books online, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Just search for the name of either the Ultimate Friday the 13th Trivia Book, the Ultimate Halloween Trivia Book, the Ultimate Halloween Trivia Book 2nd Edition, or Christ Defeats Cancer, and soon to be Samhain, I should say, Christ Defeats Cancer 2, The Battle Continues, and possibly the Ultimate Nightmare on Elm Street Trivia Book will be out this year. You can look up those as well, and all on that on Amazon, also, by author Scotty McCoy. You can keep an eye out for Gravestone Films with our production of Samhain and other productions we have that we are working on. We're also debating, or not really debating, but we're planning on doing a documentary on my dad as well, with the family. His journey through, what he went through and all that stuff. We're seeing when we want to fit that in as well. Samhain is right now our first priority at this point because we have a lot to do in terms, once we get the business stuff done, then we can focus on big projects and that. But so you can look at that. I also have my website, which isn't updated. There might even be a page on there because I clicked on it because I was using it as a reference on my website. That might not even work at this point, but I am revamping the entire website. I've been doing it for about a year now. I'm doing a lot more dynamic PHP code in it, so it's getting a lot. It's there's a lot getting done to it. It's an entire design update, and there's a lot of things being added to it. But you can go to my fan page, www.smccoyauthor.com. That you can, obviously, like I said, you can hear my interviews and that on there, but right now it's an outdated website. It doesn't have my updated books. It doesn't have, it even has one of the navigation pages aren't working because I forgot to re-add that page back in when I was testing my current site to see how it looked online. And but once I get that up, I'm hoping it'll be up within this year. I'm having a little trouble with the logic on the one part of the site, but you can go to that site. You can also follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/smccoyauthor. Follow me on Instagram at smccoyauthor. Those are all my pages. You can do all that, and if you wanna, one thing I can say is it's gonna be easier now to book me instead of getting me directly through Facebook. Obviously you can get me through Facebook, but for people that are wanting me to do a book signing, or want me to do a tour, or want to book me for a meet and greet or an autograph signing, anything of the sort, they can. When my new website is up, I'm gonna have a contact form on the contact page that you can fill out, and the subject is a drop down. You can click book the author as a subject and put in who you are and all that stuff, and you can easily inquire a booking of me that way. You can obviously send generalized messages, buy a book. You can buy a book right through the contact page. All you have to do is click as a subject, buy a book or whatever I have it listed as, and put in your message how many you want, what books you want, and obviously that's the way it'll be easier to get the books, and it'll get emailed to me, and I'll autograph each and every copy. Just tell me who you want to email to. So all that's going to be updated once my new site is launched. I'm hoping in 2019 I'll get that there. I've been working a lot on different projects. So, so those are a couple of things to keep a lookout for, and those are my sites. You can follow me and give me a like, and also you can subscribe to me on YouTube at youtube.com/The Entertainment Center Official. I am doing that because I am doing a video game walkthrough, and I'm doing a couple of things entertainment related, not just author related. So I took out the S. McCoy author name, and I decided to have me as the Entertainment Center, and somebody already has that link. So I have the Entertainment Center Official. You can subscribe to me on YouTube there. The profile picture would be me holding my clapboard and pointing to the sky type of thing, and you can see the Entertainment Center with a bunch of video game classic characters and all that stuff on the page, and the cover art. And give me a like. I've been posting things on there regarding Hyena. I've been posting things on there regarding the Once Upon a Time convention I went to, where I met Lana Parrilla, the story of my life. Mm-hmm. You can see on there I'm doing a walkthrough of Banjo-Kazooie right now, and I'm going to be doing other video games. You can see that one that gets posted. I didn't post it yet, but I'm still playing the game. I'm about halfway through that. That's one thing you can do. So there's a bunch of things that see on there that's all related to entertainment, whether it's video games, wrestling, horror, anything really, anything with Gravestone Films, stuff like that. So just come and give me a like or a subscription or anything, and follow me. And like I said, if you buy my books on Amazon, they will not be autographed. So make sure if you want an autographed copy, you get me directly, either through my updated website when it is posted, through the contact form. You can message me on Facebook on my fan page. If you're a friend on my personal page, you can send me a message there. Direct message on Twitter, Instagram message, any way they can get a hold of me to get an autographed copy, just do so, and I will autograph it for you and tell me who you want it to autograph to. A lot of people got my books for Christmas gifts, and I'm telling you, they said their kids' faces were probably the highlight when they saw that. Not only did they get a book of a franchise they loved, but they also got a book signed by the author of who wrote the book of the franchises they loved. So, I mean, obviously Christmas is over, but but this interview will be airing in a couple months, probably near end of summer, early fall. But if you can like my fan page and get a book for the upcoming Christmas and Halloween, go ahead and do it, because you won't be disappointed.
Well, you know what? That should be here a wrap. But like I said, I would imagine next year, probably January, we'll have you back for a fourth interview. You're always an entertaining, informal guest. So, but before you go, I need a plug for my show, and of course, I don't need to tell you how to go about it.
Exactly.
Go for it.
So my name is author Scotty McCoy, and you just listened to me on Python's Paradise on CHSR 97.9.